falling off the door hanging off the hinges. My feet are still sore, my back's on the fringes. We tore up the walls, we slept on couches. We lifted this house, firecrackers in the east. My car parks out, your hands on my cheeks, your shoulder in my mouth. I was up against the wall on the west mezzanine. We rattle this town, we rattle this scene. Oh, and the sun. Oh, and the sun. What do you know? This house is falling apart. What can I say? This house is falling apart. We got no money, but we got a heart. We're gonna rattle this ghost town. This house is falling apart.
What was your favorite MUN conference you've ever been to?
Our favorite MUN conference was Rutgers. We partnered together, so it was pretty cool, and every day we matched and coordinated our outfits. Yes, people thought that was cool. And then it was also one of our favorites because when we first got there, we were pretty jet lagged, so we kind of slocked off the first couple of days, and then the last day we decided to pick it up and really actually try, and then we ended up getting an award for most improved. Yeah, so that was exciting.
My favorite MUN conference was during my sophomore year at UC Davis, where I was in the Zombie Apocalypse Committee and Billy committed genocide on his entire country.
It had to be senior year at Huntington Beach, the MUN conference, when Marlise and I used the Dr. Richard Myers Foundation, and everyone believed it.
When I was chairing World Bank, we had a loan proposal based entirely around avocados. There was animations of avocados. I think they had an avocado playing maracas, and at least $20 million was devoted to his own personal consumption of avocados. So, yeah.
My favorite MUN conference that I've ever been to is definitely the Europe conference. I went out to dinner with a bunch of people from my committee and Kayla, and it was just like a really great experience because we could bond with people that like live in Turkey, France, and so on. And the conference was also bilingual, so it was really interesting listening to French majority of the time we were there. It was a really cool experience.
I can tell just what you want. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. I can say it's what you know, but you know it the whole time. Yeah, you know it the whole time.
What is your funniest MUN moment?
When I was chairing the freshman conference this year, one of the freshmen forgot his speech for about 30 seconds, and Myers came in and stared him down, and then at the end of it, Myers just started bursting out laughing, so it was really hard not to laugh along with him.
My most memorable or funny moment in MUN was probably when we did a group project with Elijah Pitzer, and he sang "It Was a Wonderful World" by Louis Armstrong. I'm surprised he's going and he's doing golf in college. I think he should do singing instead. He's got a pretty nice voice.
Funniest MUN moment was when we were in Italy. Julia had a little baggie of ibuprofen, and it looked super sketchy, so she convinced Tatum that she had been given drugs from a random Italian guy for free and took them.
When we were in New York junior year, I decided to buy a $5 turtle in Chinatown, and then I realized that you're not allowed to bring turtles onto planes, so I smuggled it on the plane through a water bottle.
Alive?
No, it died in the summer.
What is your most memorable moment throughout your 4 years of MUN?
Probably on the international trip when we hiked up the Duomo, and then Nick and I and Morrow went up and climbed the bell tower as well, which means that we did probably 3,000 steps, and we got to see the entire city, and yeah, it was a good time.
My most memorable moment would have to be when we were in Florence and we climbed the Duomo, and all of us were like super exhausted and like we're about to literally pass out, but we all like had a great time because we saw the beautiful city of Florence on top of the Duomo.
The most memorable moment would be on that same trip, but while we're in Italy, when our whole group of friends were just like going around Florence and exploring. We were just like walking along the river, singing "Banana Pancakes" by Jack Johnson.
And we went to the Pitti Palace, and CJ, Billy, and Matt and I all frolicked in the meadow.
My most memorable moment in MUN would probably be starting the Best Delegate Club after one of the conferences my sophomore year, and just chanting Best Delegate Club the entire way home on the bus for Garrett.
I'd say that my most memorable moment would definitely have to be the New York trip, and in particular my trip into Harlem. I got to meet a really cool guy who's shown us around, probably the best tour guide I've ever had, and I earned the nickname CC Cool Cow, which I subsequently lost while attempting to ice skate. And I use the word attempting very seriously here.
I walked in late to the Huntington conference this year in the UN Women Committee, and I was the only guy out of 37 girls, and I got a lot of dirty looks. And then Mr. Myers came in and smiled and told me I did a good job.
I used to rule the world. The seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes. Listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. 1 minute I held the key. Next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, once you go there was never an honest word. That was when I ruled the world.
What is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you in MUN?
My most embarrassing moment is MUN is when we came back from New York and Mr. Myers was giving out a character award to our class, and he started describing me while we were ice skating, and I was really surprised, but I stood up and I was congratulating myself on getting an award. But then Mr. Myers looked at me and sternly told me to sit down because the award was actually for Morgan, who got the award for helping me ice skate because I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet.
My most embarrassing moment in MUN was definitely sophomore year UC Davis when I asked Mimi for her number. It's definitely a low point in my high school career.
My most embarrassing moment was when I was a freshman in the first conference we had at Edison. I decided it was a good idea to wear heels when I never walk in heels, and I completely fell all the way down Myers stairs as I was going up to make my speech, the first speech I made in that conference. Safe to say I did not like those stairs at all.
I would say back when we were in the Vatican in Europe. This is probably when, after getting blessed by the priest in the Sistine Chapel, I ended up actually bumping into a nun, and then Myers saw that, which is also kind of embarrassing. And he's like, well, I guess you lost your blessing now. Too bad.
My most embarrassing moment in MUN, I thought Viagra was an allergy medication, and it's not. So I told Mr. Myers that he might want to take some because there was Viagra flavored gelato, and it wasn't allergy medicine.
So it's not as much as embarrassing as it is awkward. In Geneva for our homestays, I got placed with a family, and we had the girl that lived there, a girl from our school, and a girl from the UK, so I was the only guy in the house besides the dad, and I was locked in the basement the entire night.
When we went on our trip to Geneva, within the first 5 minutes of us being in our homestay's house, I definitely blew out one of the circuits.
Probably the most embarrassing thing that's happened to me was when Austin and I were partners for the UCLA conference, and he for some reason thought that rape condoms was a good solution for our topic, and then proceeded to describe rape condoms but couldn't actually do it or talk about it correctly. So I had to sit there while he tried to describe it. It was really awkward.
It was 11:30 at night in Florence, and we were all sitting on the floor discussing our medicine cabinets after the elevator incident, and Miss Pash brought out her medicine as well, and she casually brought up the fact that she liked the bidet and wished it was more popular at home.
The most embarrassing thing that's happened to me at MUN was getting stuck in a 4-person elevator in Italy with 8 other people and having the doors open to a cement wall and everybody panicking and yelling at each other, and I actually forgot how to breathe and had the biggest panic attack of my life.
On our New York trip, my group and I were about 11 minutes late to the Broadway show, and we had to sprint
through Times Square and shove past a bunch of people, and by the time we got to Myers, we both were having asthma attacks, and we had to share my inhaler, and we were pretty much out of breath and dying
for the rest of the show.
My group was late in Washington Square Park for a meeting in New York City, and we were sprinting through the subway, and I tripped Megan as we were running up the stairs, and there was no time to ask her if she was okay, so I picked her up and pushed her to move on. And Maya still yelled at us.
The most memorable moment for me was going on the whitewater rafting trip at Davis and going through one of the rapids. 1 second I see Billy Miller across from me, and the next he's not there because he
flew 20 feet across the American River after being launched out of the raft, and yeah, it was pretty funny.
And not thinking twice, I had to grab him out of the water and pull him back in just before he got hit and smashed up against the rocks, and it was just one of the funniest moments because of course it had to be Billy that fell over the side, someone right next to me, and everyone was just cracking up the whole entire time afterwards.
So thank you, lifeguard Morgan Baumgartner, for saving my life.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it